Miss Cook, you confess you had sexual relations with your husband, Mr. Edmund, and then cheated with another man.
Yes, Your Honor.
All within a 3-day period.
Yes, Your Honor.
Now you say you're unsure which of the two fathered your daughter.
Yes, ma'am.
Now, Mr. Edmund, you say your wife has a history of infidelity, and since there is now only a 50-50 chance that you are the biological father of your daughter, your entire family has turned against her.
Yes, Your Honor.
So now, Miss Cook, do you believe your husband and his family have a right to be this outraged?
Your Honor, I would like to start by saying that we have been married for 5 months. We are raising a 5-month-old daughter named Marley. She's the best baby in the world, but around the time of my conception, we definitely had some turbulence. And when I say turbulence, I mean cheating. Me first, then him, then me again. It's nothing to be proud of, but that's what reality is, and that's what we're here today to determine the paternity of Marley.
All right. So that was a nice, glossy gift of information you gave me. Now I want to get to the nitty-gritty.
Okay.
What happened? So you're in your relationship, things are going well.
Okay. Well, things are going okay as far as I'm concerned, but Facebook has a whole nother story to tell.
All right, so what happens?
Some stuff pops up, makes me feel very uncomfortable, and makes my trust for him go down quite a lot.
What pops up?
A message from another girl. This girl has popped up multiple times.
Okay, so you suspected him of cheating.
Basically, she informs me that he has been writing her and that it's an ongoing thing, and, you know, even using my phone to do it while he's in the same room as me. So I was just outraged.
Then you do what?
I cheated on him with a very close friend of his. Well, okay, supposedly a good friend.
My best friend. My best friend.
Supposedly his best friend, but the friend in question had a lot of negative to say about Jared and was basically in my ear telling me all these awful things about Jared doesn't love me, Jared wouldn't care if he was with me. He didn't understand why I was with Jared.
You're supposed to be my girl. You're supposed to be my girl, and he's supposed to be my friend.
And you were supposed to be
so
my man.
Either way, you were wrong.
Okay.
Either way, you were wrong.
You're starting to talk to his friend is feeding you information,
yes,
making you feel like you shouldn't be with him.
Yes, and long story short, we ended up hooking up together. It's nothing to be proud of, but it did happen. We were
hooking
under
up
the
means?
Me and his best friend had sex.
Okay.
It wasn't even like sex like in a room or in a hotel. It was like, it was outside at a church.
What?
And somebody else was there that I know, and that's how I found out.
And
he watched it, Your
yeah,
Honor.
well, it's
Your Honor.
weird because the other person was actually pretending to be asleep and secretly looking over his shoulder. And about a month after this incident happened, randomly the other person decided to tell him.
After that, she cheated on me again with another guy.
After he cheated on me.
Around the same time that she conceived.
Cheated on me with someone very
during the
close.
time of conception, when your daughter Marley was conceived, who were you sleeping with?
I was with my husband at the time. We were boyfriend and girlfriend. We were together basically every day. We did not use protection. And the second guy, which is embarrassing to admit, but we did not use a condom.
The bottom line is, within the window of conception, you slept with more than one man, and the sex was unprotected.
Yes.
So now you realize that the other
be.
guy you slept with, it could potentially be him as well.
Yes,
Yes,
ma'am.
Your Honor.
And once she tells you this, she gets this guy on the phone. You get this guy on the phone?
I called him and I said, I have some news. It's really not good news, but you know, I was wrong about my conception date. You are a possibility now. And just for the record, I love Jay, and we are going to be together, and he will love this baby regardless, which he also vouched for. He took the phone, he talked to the other man, and he said, even if you're the biological dad, I'm still the one making sandwiches, I'm still the one doing her hair, and you can come on the weekends.
This all sounds great. Matter of fact, you both tell this story almost like it's a nursery rhyme or a fairy tale. And then this happened and this happened, when in actuality, this is a nightmare.
It is, honestly.
This is a nightmare. all this smirking and smiling and just telling the story like in a minute you're about to break out into a cheer or something. You slept with 2 different men during a window of conception, which leads to the fact that this baby Marley, beautiful baby, doesn't know who her father really is, her biological father. You don't know and you don't know.
I don't.
It's just ridiculous. But in this court, it's about the child, and you all better take it seriously. In the case of Cook versus Edmund, as it pertains to 5-month-old Marley Edmund, Mr. Edmund, you are her father.
I'm happy about that, and like, I love my wife, I love the baby.
Good.
I love my sister. I just don't want people fighting, you know. I hope this brings people that much cordial, or to get that much closer, to be in the same room at least. I want my family then to get to know her. What's one person without their whole family? Don't nobody care about you like your family.
And Ms. Cook, how do you feel?
I feel great. And he's the best dad in the world, and she is very lucky to have him as a dad, and I'm very lucky to have him as a husband.
I'm happy for you, and I don't want to take away from this moment.
Okay.
But I have to caution you,
Right.
because I don't want this to happen again.
Right.
You guys have a relationship, you have a marriage, you have a baby. If you have misunderstandings, miscommunications, you have to figure out how to work them out.
Okay.
Mr. Clark, you have petitioned the court for a paternity test
Yes, Your Honor.
for your 4-year-old daughter, Jay Leona.
Yes, Your Honor.
You question whether you are her biological father because of her mother's sexually promiscuous lifestyle.
Yes, that's true.
Now, you say that her job as an exotic dancer has torn your relationship apart. And if the results today prove the child is yours, you are planning to seek sole custody.
Yes, I am.
Now, Ms. Propst, you admit to cheating on Mr. Clark, but state
Yes.
your job does not make you a bad mother.
Yes, Your Honor.
You admit that you were unsure who Jay Leona's father is because you had
correct.
an affair around the time of conception.
Yes.
Now, you say you're hoping today's results will somehow put your fractured family back together.
That's correct.
So, Mr. Clark, what is the hardest part about the possibility you may not be Jay Leona's father?
Well, Your Honor, I honestly and truly believe for the last 4 years of my life, I've been living a complete lie.
You're not living a lie.
Yes, I am. I don't believe she even has a clue or idea who the father name is.
So take me back a little bit. How did this relationship get to this point? You're together and you're happy.
Well, this is how it happened. I was in Job Corps.
Okay.
I was working to get my CNA, nursing license.
Okay.
I met her at a party. She's a very fun, loving girl at that particular time. Took it easy, fell back. I went to school. Now, I came back for a New Year's party. That was the first time we had sex. That was 3 months prior before we had sex. Everything was cool. Throughout this course and this time, she became a totally different person.
So when you met her, she was one way.
Yes.
You
And
thought
afterwards, she was the next. She was something else. She was just a complete liar. That's how I see it.
I was not a liar. How was I a liar?
That's why we're here today. She's already admitted to cheating. She knows this.
That's not being a liar.
Yes,
I
it is.
admitted to cheating,
Cheating
which
is
means
lying
you
and lying is
asked
cheating.
and
It's
I
the same
admitted
thing.
it. That's not
It's the
being
same
a
thing.
liar.
I don't even have to look at you to even say that.
All right, so Miss Probst, let me ask you. Now, you admit that you were in a relationship with Mr. Clark, but then at some point you cheated.
Yes,
And
Your
lied.
Honor. I did not lie.
You
yes,
cheat
Your
and you
Honor.
lie. It's the same thing.
Yes, Your Honor. Basically, how this happened, I had went to a party with a friend that I was working with at the time, and I had seen this guy that I liked. He got my number, and I slept with him that same night, and I found out I was pregnant.
And this was admittedly around the time of conception.
Yes, Honor. I have
Your daughter.
a calendar. Can I show you that? I had submitted it to the court. Around Labor Day weekend, I slept with this guy and Anthony. So right there on the 1st is where I slept with the other guy. Everything in
Okay, so on
yellow.
September 1st, indicated in green, you slept with the other guy at the party.
Yes, ma'am.
In yellow are the dates that you slept with Anthony.
Yes, ma'am. they told me my conception
So
date, it was
Jayleona
around
was
that time.
born in June.
Yes, ma'am.
So as we count back, that first week in September would be the week of conception.
Yes.
During which time you slept with both guys.
Yes, Your Honor.
We've established that the paternity is at issue. Now, Miss Propst, is exotic dancing just the career of your choice?
I'm an exotic dancer. No, Your Honor. I had a rough childhood. Me and my family never got along. My father was never around. I just want for my daughter to have the father that I never had. I had to do what I have to do to be able to provide for me and my children. The money is going to be spent the same way.
Wait, now how many children do you all have together?
Two.
So he's already helping to support and take care of your
Yes,
other
I tried to
child.
make
Just
a
here
serious
recently, what you have to understand is that whenever I was from the beginning, you know, when I was doing this, I did lie to him about dancing. I told him I was going to be stripping. And I had to do what I had to do, like I said, to make a better way for me and my kids, because at the time, he was not helping me pay any bills. He was not helping me with anything in my apartment. I did not want to ruin the relationship that we had. But, you know, whenever he asked, like, you know, your stomach looks like it's getting bigger. Do you have something that you want to tell me? I told him, I'm pregnant, and there's a possibility that you might not even be the father. So I told him. He knew.
Why does it take for me to see
knew
your stomach
before
show
our
for me to ask
child was
questions?
born
She should have
that
told me she
he
was
may
pregnant
not
from the
be
beginning.
father of our
That's his
child.
creed.
So it's not
There's
like
no other way around.
she's 1 or she's 3, and I'm just like, hey, dropping this bomb that you may not be the father. He knew. He wasn't even there to sign the birth certificate. He was not even with her until she was like 6 months old.
So, Mr. Clark, you have known this from birth. You've been aware that potentially Jayleona may not be your child.
Yes.
And yet, you still went ahead and established this beautiful relationship with her.
Yes, I have.
I think that's wonderful.
Thank you.
I think that's admirable. You obviously love this woman.
Yes, I do. I love my child more. And if I get these results today and the child is mine, I won't sole custody.
Your Honor, he took my kids away so that
didn't
we've
take your kids
basically
away.
not been together for two months. And the agreement was, you know, I'm going to take them until I want you to find a better job because I feel like you're making a bad example for our kid.
Have you been looking for a better
Since
job?
he's been gone those 2 months, I've enrolled in school to go to dental assistant school. So I start school in 2 weeks. I just want to save our relationship.
In the case of Clark versus Propst, Mr. Clark, when it comes to 4-year-old Jayleona, you are not her father.
I'm sorry.
Don't come over here.
I'm sorry, but you already knew before we
No, it doesn't.
came.
It
There was
doesn't.
a
It
chance
doesn't
that
matter.
You might not be
It
her
doesn't
father,
matter.
though.
I'm going to continue, you know, providing for my child. She will always be my daughter, you know, through thick and thin, no matter what the results. If I wasn't her father, obviously we all know she doesn't have one. She doesn't have one. Without me, she doesn't have one. I would not allow some guy from the club or some guy from the street, you know, pick up where I left off, because nobody can do that. So I'm going to remain being the father I need to be.
Mr. Clark, not only is that commendable, that's what real men do. I've listened to many cases before this court, and sometimes there's a pause before a man steps up and says, well, I'm still going to step in and be her father. But with you, there was no pause. And I have to acknowledge that because it speaks to the love you have for her.
I have deep love for that's my baby.
And now I have to keep it real with you. That apology you gave, you're going to have to do better than that. You've been married to the defendant for less than a year. Due to your husband's trust issues, you're worried you won't make it to your 1-year anniversary if you don't prove he is the biological father of your son, Jacob Hatfield. Is that correct?
Yes, Your Honor.
Mr. Hatfield, you say sleeping with the babysitter landed you in a marriage with someone you don't trust. Is that correct?
Yes, Your Honor.
Mr. Hatfield, did you have a good relationship before the marriage?
Yeah.
Did you have trust issues then?
Right about the time that we were finding out that she was pregnant.
That's supposed to be a happy time. What happened?
She hadn't told me she'd quit taking her birth control or anything yet. We were talking about planning for the future and a possible children future, not immediately at that moment.
So you have trust issues.
Yes.
But at one time, this relationship was a happy one.
Yes.
Yes, Your Honor.
Mrs. Casey, take me back to that time.
I had started babysitting for his family. I saw him, thinking he was a cute guy. And we started chit-chatting, and he had said they had told me the rules. It was, no running in and out of the house because it was hot that day, the air conditioner was on. Make sure the kids don't go in and out of the house, and no sleeping with the babysitter on duty.
Really?
I thought it was love at first sight.
And so you instantly fell for him?
Yes. I've been the side lady, and now I'm the main one. We're married, and I want this to be a happily ever after with my little family.
And so, Mr. Hatfield, you slept with the babysitter. Broke the
Eventually.
rules.
But it was after hours. It wasn't during the time of being babysitting or anything like that.
It wasn't.
No. And me and Andrew proceeded to talk from that moment on.
So you started dating.
Yes.
How did you get to a place where you thought she actually had slept with someone and Jacob may not be your biological son?
By coming across text messages in her phone.
Oh.
I have.
You've brought some to court?
Brought some to
Jerome,
court.
may I see that evidence, please? Thank you.
You're welcome. They would be to Miss Casey from somebody she was with prior to me.
And so these text messages read, "Are you up? What are you doing? I just got off. Can I come by?" They're all questions with no responses. At the time she's your wife
Before.
and right before she got pregnant.
This was right after she was pregnant.
Okay, what it signaled to you was if this was going on right after she got pregnant, was it going on right before?
Exactly.
Miss Casey, you remember these text messages? You recognize them?
Sort of, kind of, yes.
So who could it be, sorta, kinda?
This guy had messaged me, asked me to be his mistress whenever he got married. I had told him flat out no.
When did that start?
It had happened after we had gotten pregnant. He was messaging me, asking me to hook up. I kept telling him no. I kept telling Mr. Hatfield about these messages.
Was she honest, Mr. Hatfield, about the fact that this ex was reaching out, asking her to be his mistress?
After it was brought up to me, yes, she was honest, but I still felt like there was missing side of the conversation.
And this was a guy she was intimate with in the past, am I correct?
Yes.
When he sent these text messages, you did not respond.
Correct.
And so, Mr. Hatfield, do you believe she did not respond?
No. I was currently staying at her parents' house, and I was sitting in the garage with one of her family members when the guy in question had come in the back door and knocked on our bedroom door.
Mrs. Casey, did you have revenge sex with this man to get back at him because you thought he was having sex with his ex?
No. I've never once cheated on him in the 3 years.
So why is it when we saw those text messages, we don't see a text that comes after that that goes, "Stop texting me, I'm married"?
Because he had blocked me on Facebook. I had blocked him, he blocked me.
How you gonna block somebody and you're waiting for them to respond to see if you can come over and have sex with them? That doesn't even make good sense.
Because his girlfriend had found the messages.
So she was looking at him, and then at that point, he realized it and blocked it.
Yes.
This is so messy. You're saying Jacob doesn't look like you?
No, he don't.
He does. I'm fair-skinned. It doesn't have to be the dad's. He doesn't have to be, like, if you would look
I
at
have
What
no
color
idea.
hair does this other guy have, since you say
Brown
it doesn't
hair.
look like you?
When he was younger, it was sandy strawberry blonde. Now it's a little bit more brown during more time he spends in the sun. Now, my father and me share dark hair, dark complexion, all the way through. I passed those genes down on into my oldest son, and he looks exactly like me, exactly like my father.
Mr. Hatfield, you said there's also medical reasons why you believe you are not Jacob's biological father.
Jacob has one kidney. He's had to have surgery. He has to see a urologist every 6 months to once a year now. I've been there every step of the way from birth to now with the boy.
And I can see that makes you
for him.
emotional when you talk
And
about him.
I just want to be able to take care of him the best as possible and get everything between me and her better, because to take care of him and his brother the best that we can. We cannot have this back and forth. It's bad for the kids. It teaches them bad habits. It gets them yelling and screaming at people, and then they feel the tension and they don't want to mind or listen. We got to get this under wraps now before it gets any further out of control, or we're going to have to step back from each other. I just want to know what we need to know for Jacob.
And I know it hurts you. I can see that. If a child is born with one kidney, could this defect be considered hereditary? And if yes, what's the likelihood that it's inherited?
Okay. When we talk about having one kidney or renal agenesis, it is what we call multifactorial, meaning it is multiple reasons, and we're not exactly sure why. It can be environmental. Is mom on a medication? Has she been exposed to some toxins? Lifestyle, obesity, drug use, alcohol use, or very rarely is it genetic, and that's if there's a mutation. So even if it is genetic, dad could simply be, or mom could simply be a carrier, meaning they could have both kidneys, but just carry the gene.
And here, I believe Mr. Hatfield testified that Jacob does not have any such mutation. Is that correct?
Correct.
And so given that fact, how does this relate to the possibility that this could affect his doubt concerning his paternity?
The genetics of it is minimal.
In the case of Casey versus Hatfield, when it comes to 1-year-old Jacob Hatfield, it has been determined by this court. Mr. Hatfield, you are the father.
Sorry.
Actually, I'm relieved, to tell you the truth. You know, you all know I don't know these results, okay? I was like, Lord, come on. But really,
It's my birthday.
It is? Well, what a blessing. Really, truly. What a blessing. And I can see it meant something to you. I could almost feel your breath stop as I was reading the results. And then when I read it, I could hear that sigh of relief. And it's a beautiful thing to get the truth. And I'm happy for you both. Because at the end of the day, the genesis of this was something beautiful. And then we let trust issues affect the foundation of this family. And ultimately, it affected the way in which we view this beautiful, innocent child. And I can see that affects you because you knew it was affecting it. Mm-hmm. And just as you so eloquently stated, everything that goes on in that house, they understand, they can feel the intention behind the words. So I'm so happy we got this truth today. Court is adjourned.